sabi sa kanya ganyan.
So many of your songs were about heartbreak.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because there was a lot of heartbreak, and in my life, I felt very heartbroken. And I think many people do feel heartbroken. I think it's
Biggest heartbreak?
Biggest heartbreak? Oh, I don't even want to think about my biggest heartbreak, because my biggest heartbreak was so incredibly rough. You know, losing my child, to be frank with you, delivering a stillborn baby. You know, that's probably the most heartbreaking thing that could happen to anyone. So that's the lowest point of things. But certainly a lot of romantic heartbreaking relationships that never...
Annie Lennox has always captivated the world with her powerful voice, magnetic presence, and the raw honesty she pours into her music. But behind the iconic red hair, the bold eyeliner, and the fearless persona lies a story of heartbreak, struggle, and deeply personal loss that has shaped the person she is today. For decades, Annie Lennox has used her art to express emotions that many shy away from confronting, yet there is an intimacy in the way she communicates her pain that resonates universally. From her earliest years, Annie Lennox's journey was intertwined with the complexities of love, longing, and the inevitable heartbreak that comes with caring too deeply for someone or something. Annie Lennox grew up with a sensitive heart and a mind that was always seeking connection. Even as a child, she felt emotions intensely, and as she moved through her teenage years, those feelings intensified. Relationships, friendships, and first loves left lasting impressions on Annie Lennox, teaching her early lessons about trust, disappointment, and the bittersweet taste of longing. She has often reflected on how those formative experiences prepared her for the turbulent world of fame, where public scrutiny can magnify heartbreak and where personal loss is often shared with millions. Annie Lennox's ability to transform personal grief into creative energy has always been her strength, and it is this skill that has endeared her to fans across generations. The heartbreak Annie Lennox has faced is not limited to romantic relationships. It has touched almost every aspect of her life. There have been moments when her professional ambitions collided with personal expectations, leaving her feeling isolated despite achieving global success. Annie Lennox has spoken candidly about the loneliness that fame can bring, describing times when the applause of thousands could not mask the quiet ache in her heart. She confesses that learning to cope with these feelings required a profound inner resilience. Annie Lennox's journey reminds us that heartbreak is not merely about losing love. It is about losing a sense of certainty, a feeling of security, and sometimes even the very version of yourself you thought you knew. Annie Lennox's music has always served as a mirror to her soul, reflecting both the beauty and the pain she has experienced. Songs she has written reveal layers of vulnerability, exposing the depth of her emotional journey in ways words alone cannot. Fans listening to Annie Lennox's haunting melodies often feel as though she is speaking directly to them, whispering secrets of heartache and healing that are simultaneously unique and universal. It is this rare capacity to connect through music that has allowed Annie Lennox to turn personal heartbreak into something profoundly transformative. She has described writing music as a form of therapy, a sacred space where sorrow and joy coexist, where heartbreak can be acknowledged, honored, and ultimately understood. The heartbreak Annie Lennox endured in romantic relationships is a story of love sought, found, lost, and sometimes unfulfilled. She has admitted to having relationships that began with promise but ended in pain, leaving emotional scars that lingered long after the moments had passed. Annie Lennox speaks openly about how such experiences shaped her understanding of intimacy, trust, and the delicate balance between vulnerability and self-preservation. Each heartbreak taught Annie Lennox that loving deeply always carries risk, yet each lesson also revealed her extraordinary capacity to endure, to heal, and to emerge stronger. Fans who have followed Annie Lennox's career can see these lessons etched into her music as every note, lyric, and melody seems infused with the wisdom born of heartache. Annie Lennox has also shared how personal loss beyond romantic relationships has influenced her emotional landscape. The passing of loved ones, moments of separation, and the challenges of reconciling expectations with reality have all left indelible marks on her heart. Annie Lennox's reflections are filled with an honesty that is both painful and beautiful, as she articulates the vulnerability that comes with truly feeling life in all its highs and lows. Her words remind listeners that heartbreak is not a weakness, it is a testament to the depth of one's capacity to love, to hope, and to experience the world with sincerity and openness. Annie Lennox's voice carries the weight of these experiences, offering comfort and solidarity to those navigating their own emotional journeys. In addition to the personal experiences of heartbreak, Annie Lennox has faced the unique challenge of living her life in the public eye. The pressures of fame, expectations from fans, and scrutiny from the media have magnified moments of vulnerability, turning private pain into a spectacle for public consumption. Yet Annie Lennox has navigated this with grace and courage, refusing to let external pressures define her emotional truth. She has learned to embrace heartbreak as a natural and necessary part of her growth, understanding that pain, when acknowledged and expressed authentically, can become a source of strength, inspiration, and connection with oneself and others. Annie Lennox's story is not one of despair, but of resilience, a testament to the power of embracing life's heartbreaks with honesty and courage. Every interview, every performance, and every personal reflection shared by Annie Lennox offers a glimpse into the layers of her soul shaped by heartbreak. The emotional vulnerability she displays is intentional, a deliberate choice to honor the human experience in all its complexity. Annie Lennox's fans have long admired this transparency, finding in her words and music a reflection of their own struggles, losses, and triumphs. Her heartbreak is relatable because it is real, raw, and unflinching. Annie Lennox has mastered the art of turning emotional pain into a shared experience, inviting the world to witness her journey, and in doing so, encouraging them to confront their own heartbreaks with courage and compassion. Annie Lennox has repeatedly emphasized that while heartbreak is painful, it also carries transformative power. Each disappointment, each tear, and each moment of grief has contributed to the person she has become today. Annie Lennox's resilience and capacity for self-reflection demonstrate that heartbreak is not an endpoint, but a catalyst for growth, creativity, and deeper connection with oneself and others. Her journey is a vivid reminder that to feel deeply is to live fully, and that the scars left by heartbreak are not marks of weakness, but badges of lived experience, wisdom, and emotional depth. Annie Lennox's story inspires audiences to embrace their own vulnerabilities, to face heartbreak with courage, and to find beauty even in the most painful chapters of life.
Annie Lennox's journey through heartbreak has been intertwined not only with personal experiences, but also with the evolution of her career and public persona. Even as fame elevated her to legendary status, Annie Lennox remained deeply human, confronting the same vulnerabilities, disappointments, and emotional turbulence as anyone else. She has spoken candidly about how the pressures of the music industry sometimes compounded the heartbreak she already felt in her personal life. Long hours, constant scrutiny, and the expectations to maintain a perfect image often left Annie Lennox feeling isolated. Yet within these challenges, she discovered an inner fortitude that allowed her to transform every wound into a story, a lyric, a melody, and ultimately a connection with others who had felt similarly lost or broken. Annie Lennox has always had an uncanny ability to channel her heartbreak into creativity. She explains that music has been her sanctuary, a place where the intensity of her emotions could be released safely and authentically. Through her art, Annie Lennox communicates heartbreak in ways that transcend words alone, allowing listeners to experience the depth of her pain while finding solace in shared human vulnerability. Each song becomes a narrative of loss, longing, and hope, reflecting Annie Lennox's understanding that heartbreak is both a teacher and a companion. Her performances often carry a raw energy that reveals the emotional layers beneath the public persona, reminding fans that Annie Lennox is not only an icon, but a human being navigating the complexities of love and life. Annie Lennox's reflections on heartbreak also extend to her relationships with family and friends, which, like romantic connections, have seen their share of challenges. She has openly discussed the grief that accompanies estrangement, misunderstandings, and moments when bonds weaken despite deep love. Annie Lennox's heartbreak in these areas is less visible to the public, but equally profound, shaping her approach to empathy, patience, and emotional honesty. She emphasizes that enduring such pain requires both courage and self-awareness, traits that have become central to her identity. Annie Lennox's willingness to share these experiences underscores her belief that no form of heartbreak is insignificant and that every emotional setback can contribute to a richer, more compassionate understanding of oneself and the world. Romantic heartbreak, however, remains one of the most prominent themes in Annie Lennox's narrative. She describes experiences where love felt infinite, yet circumstances led to profound separation, leaving her to navigate the emptiness and questions that follow. Annie Lennox has reflected on the intensity of these emotions, revealing how the depth of attachment often makes heartbreak more acute. She speaks about the duality of love and loss, acknowledging that the joy of deep connection inevitably carries the risk of pain. Through her candid storytelling, Annie Lennox encourages others to embrace this vulnerability, to allow themselves to love fully, and to accept that heartbreak, while painful, is a sign of having lived authentically and courageously. Annie Lennox's insight into heartbreak is further enriched by her experiences with self-discovery and personal growth. She has shared how periods of solitude, reflection, and introspection allowed her to confront her emotions honestly and without judgment. Annie Lennox emphasizes that heartbreak often forces individuals to examine their own expectations, desires, and boundaries, ultimately offering opportunities for profound self-understanding. In her case, these moments of reflection have led to artistic breakthroughs, emotional clarity, and a deeper appreciation for the fleeting and precious nature of connection. Annie Lennox's narrative teaches that heartbreak, while inherently painful, can also illuminate paths toward resilience, creativity, and emotional fulfillment. The heartbreak Annie Lennox has faced is not only a source of personal growth, but also a wellspring of empathy. She has described how enduring emotional pain has allowed her to connect more deeply with others, to recognize shared suffering, and to respond with compassion. Annie Lennox believes that heartbreak, when approached with honesty, cultivates emotional intelligence, a capacity for kindness, and an appreciation for the beauty in human fragility. Her music often reflects this philosophy, offering listeners both acknowledgement of their own pain and a sense of solidarity in knowing that Annie Lennox has traversed similar emotional landscapes. Through this, her heartbreak transforms from a personal struggle into a collective experience, bridging the gap between individual sorrow and universal understanding. Annie Lennox has also explored the transformative power of healing after heartbreak. She talks about the slow, sometimes painstaking process of mending emotional wounds and reclaiming a sense of hope and self-worth. Annie Lennox emphasizes that healing does not erase pain, but allows it to coexist with renewed strength and perspective. Annie Lennox encourages listeners to embrace heartbreak as a journey rather than an endpoint, recognizing that each moment of grief holds lessons that contribute to emotional depth and authenticity. Annie Lennox's reflections reveal a philosophy of life where pain and beauty coexist, where heartbreak becomes a guide toward greater self-awareness, and where resilience emerges as a natural companion to vulnerability. Throughout her life, Annie Lennox has continually demonstrated that heartbreak, though challenging, can become a powerful force for creativity, empathy, and connection. She has transformed personal loss into art that resonates globally, using her platform to explore universal truths about love, grief, and human resilience. Annie Lennox's courage in sharing her story encourages fans to confront their own emotional experiences with openness, honesty, and acceptance. Her ability to transform heartbreak into beauty reminds audiences that pain, while embraced authentically, can be both meaningful and empowering. Annie Lennox's narrative serves as a beacon, illustrating that heartbreak is not an endpoint, but a chapter in the ongoing story of growth, self-discovery, and profound human connection. Annie Lennox's journey is a testament to the enduring power of emotional honesty. Her story of heartbreak, survival, and transformation is both intimate and universal, reminding us that even the most iconic figures experience profound vulnerability. Through her music, her words, and her courage, Annie Lennox has shown that heartbreak is not something to be hidden or feared, but acknowledged, felt, and transformed into something beautiful. Fans around the world continue to draw inspiration from her journey, finding in Annie Lennox a reflection of their own struggles, resilience, and capacity to love deeply. Her narrative affirms that while heartbreak may leave scars, it also leaves the wisdom, strength, and insight necessary to embrace life with authenticity, passion, and hope. Annie Lennox concludes her reflections on heartbreak with a message of empowerment and resilience. She highlights the importance of embracing vulnerability, understanding one's emotions, and transforming pain into growth and creativity. Annie Lennox's story reminds us that heartbreak, while difficult, is a natural and transformative aspect of the human experience. Through courage, self-reflection, and the willingness to share her journey openly, Annie Lennox continues to inspire audiences to confront their own heartbreaks, to find strength in vulnerability, and to recognize the beauty that can emerge from life's most challenging emotional experiences. Her narrative serves as a mirror and a guide, illuminating the path from pain to resilience, from heartbreak to empowerment, and from personal struggle to universal connection.